the way that the needle works is these teeny tiny, I don't know if I can see it up close here, but these teeny tiny little barbs on the needle. They're actually little cuts into the 3 different sides of the needle. This is a 36 gauge triangle needle. Those tiny little cuts are what grab the individual pieces of the wool and hook them together, and that starts to make the wool dense, and it'll come together into a firm shape. So what we're going to do is start with a piece of blue wool, and we're going to lay it out on our mat. Then we're going to put the egg on top of it. Now we're going to start with one end, and I kind of gently tug it a little bit, not too much, just enough to smooth it on top of the foam. And then we're going to take our needle and stab directly into the styrofoam. Okay, so now it will be stuck right to the egg. We're going to slowly rotate the egg and stab the wool into the styrofoam. What I like to do is just go all the way around and not worry about the top and bottom just yet, and not worry if there's any patches, because we'll get back to those. Okay, so we're just going to stab, stab, stab straight down into the egg. Or if you go at a slight angle, just make sure you pull the needle out at the same angle that you're sticking it in. Otherwise, if you twist it at all, it'll break, which is why you have 2 needles in your kit. Okay, so we're going to rotate a little bit more. Stab, stab, stab. And we're going to be working with this egg quite a bit, so don't worry if you don't have every little fiber pinned down to the egg at the moment, because we're going to be able to go back through and back over it. So I have too much wool here. I'm going to overlap it a little bit because there's a little bit of a hole right there. So what I'm going to do is, again, gently pull, wrap it, and I'm going to put my thumb here, and I'm going to gently pull off the excess wool and put that to the side, because that's what I'm going to use to cover any patches if needed once I'm done with the top and bottom here. So I'm going to go back to stabbing. All right, stab, stab, stab. So now we've made one complete rotation around the egg. So this is pretty much what mine looks like right now. You can see the bottom, top isn't really done, no longer looks too much like an egg, but that's okay. Alright, and if you are doing the flower, you could be doing this same step with the yellow wool to cover the egg. And in a moment, I will be repeating this process with the yellow, so if you'd like to see it again, just wait a couple more minutes. So now what I'm doing is wrapping the wool around the bottom of this egg and stabbing it into place. So this is the bigger end of the egg, but it doesn't matter what side you start on. And you can see how it's a lighter patch here because the white's poking through. So what I'm going to do is, you can use your needle, you can use your fingers to kind of put the wool where you want it and then stab it into place. Now notice I'm stabbing this way, which is away from my holding hand. That way I will minimize stabs. Okay, and I can see that this is moving around quite a bit, so it's not quite tacked on there. So I'm just quickly going over that because I want the whole thing tacked down. Now right here I've got this patch. So I'm going to take some of that I pulled off earlier, take a little piece, and then I'm just going to put it right where that hole is and stab it right on top of the other wool. Okay. And now I'm going to repeat this process on the top. Now the top of the egg is a little bit smaller, so you might get a little excess, or you might have a hole. Either way, you can pull off the excess, or you can patch the holes with the extra little bit of blue that you have. Okay. So it looks like I pulled off a little too much, so now I'm going to take a little bit just making those fibers stick together. So I'm just rolling this in my hands. They don't have to be very firm yet. So here are the last two of the feet. Rolling, rolling, rolling. This one does feel a little bit thicker than the others, so I'm going to pull some of that off and keep rolling. And then I'm going to roll in my hands. Roll this into my hands. Okay. And now in order to put them onto the bunny, we are only going to work on that first circle we did. So just the body piece. And we're going to go in the four corners, if you will. Top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right. So just this circle here. We're going to take one piece, and you can do this with your hands or the needle if you are feeling like you're up to that. So we're going right underneath the head, right onto this bunny, and we're stabbing again. Start where the two pieces attach, and then you can stab down the rest of it. You can make this a little bit more mitten shaped if you wanted to. Anything here, a little bit longer maybe. I just go for regular circles here. You can see this piece looks a little bit bigger than the other one because it's had a little bit more time to start puffing back up. That's okay. So we're going to put that here, stab that into place, and then stab that down. So the more that you stab, the smaller it will get because it's going to get more dense, and some of it will soak right into the wool from the body and right into the egg. Okay, so I'm stabbing underneath it again to make that nice clean edge. Stabbing the whole thing down. Still looks a little big, so I'm stabbing it down a little bit more, and that looks pretty good. We're going to cover most of this with the white, so don't worry about if you don't like the way that it's looking right now. It's okay. Now we're taking number 3, and again, you can see how much bigger this one looks now. But that's okay, like we just did with that second arm. It will get smaller the more you stab. So we're stab, stab, stabbing. At this point, I usually start saying, just keep stabbing, just keep stabbing. Alright, I can feel this part's getting a little bit loose, or was a little loose, so I just stuck that on there. Alright, one more. Put that probably this way. Stabbing that there. Stabbing it underneath here. And then stabbing it down. Alright, now before we stop with the pink, we do still have cheek to do. And this is basically, and we still have cheeks and a mouth. So the cheeks are the same thing. We're making 2 balls, but we're going to make them bigger than the paws. And we're going to make it so they almost cover from the left to the right side of the face. So let me show you what I mean. Taking a big piece, pulling that in half. Keep hitting the camera thing, sorry. Rolling, rolling, rolling. Okay, now this piece I'm going to put on this side, and you can see it's going almost in the center of this face, and it can go off to the side. It just gives the face a little bit more character, so it's perfectly okay. The main thing to keep in mind is we're going to put a nose in here, but we don't want a big spot. We can really push that nose in. So I'm going to stab this about here, just to the side of the center, on whatever side you're starting on, left or right. Alright, stab, stab, stab. Draw that circle, make sure that it can kind of pop. And this will pop because it's a 3D piece. So it's fun. These are my most favorite part of the bunny. Okay, and now I'm going to do that same thing to the other side. Now this one came out a little bit smaller than the other one, so I'm going to take a little piece and fold that right on top and wrap it around. Okay, so I'm taking the second one, and now it's a little bit big, so I'm pulling a little bit off. And this, of course, it will go down a little bit as I'm stabbing it into place. So I'm placing that second one here. So you can see just a teeny tiny little space in here for the nose, but that is exactly what I want. So I'm going to stab that around the base. Stabbing that right into place here. Okay, so now I've got two really chubby cheeks. Alright, and now I'm going to make the mouth, taking a tiny piece, and I'm going to do basically that same thing, rolling it in my fingers, but instead of into a ball, I'm working on just a line, just a straight little cone shape. Okay, and now what we're going to do is hold that between the two cheeks, and I'm going to stab one side into one cheek on the inside, and the other side I'm going to kind of fold the piece right in half and stab that into the inside of the other cheek, and then I'm going to take my needle and kind of stab it down into almost like a smile, and then I can work on the bottom, so I'm stabbing up into the cheeks and then down again. And if you want to look at this one, we're working on this tiny piece right here. Okay, so now you can make the nose either with that same pink, or if you have the other pink in your kit, that in your fingers. And then we're going to put that right in between the two cheeks. And there's the nose. Okay, so now in order to finish up this bunny, we need to do the yellow. Or it's yellow. We need to do white. Let's do the white first. So grab the white, and we're going to basically do exactly what we did for the bottom. So we're folding in the frilly edges, making it basically a circle, and make it a little bit smaller than the stomach. We're going to put that piece right here. So let me get my fingers out of the way. So we're going to go underneath the mouth, and we're going to go round just on the inside, and it kind of covers up where the feet meet the body. And I can see a little piece of this hay stuck in here, so I'm just using my needle, pulling that out. So that's how easy that is to get out. And then I'm going to stab this down, but not quite as much as we did for the body piece, because it's a nice little fluffy 3D piece. Alright, so let me show you the original and the new one. Okay. Now if you do have that yellow, we're going to put that in the ears. You can also use the brighter pink if you want. Just keep some for the bow tie. You can do white if you want, if you still have some. Basically what we're going to do for that is take a tiny little piece, pull that in half, roll it just gently in your fingers. I like to fold the base of one just to make a nice clean line. That's where the yellow is going to meet the head. So right where the ear meets the head, that's where the yellow is going to meet the ear as well. And I'm just going to stab that straight into the center of that ear. Now, if you have a folded over piece, you're only going to put in from the base, and I like to do over to the side, the outside of the ear, up to that center piece where the fold is. So just on the inside here. Okay. Just up to where it's folded, because this is actually the outside of the ear and this is the inside of the ear. Okay, and now, like I said, the bow tie. We're going to take a piece of that bright pink, pull it in half, This is deceptively simple. Roll those two pieces in your hands. Take one piece and put it under the mouth, right in the center, and just poke in this, just where that piece meets. You can poke down. I like to just poke down in that center piece. And same thing with this side. We're gonna roll it some more. Okay, and we're going to put that right where that side meets. And boom, bow tie. Okay. Eyes are the last thing we need to do on the bunny. We're going to take little teeny tiny pieces of black. And by pieces, I say one piece. Okay, I'm taking a little itty bitty piece. Okay, it's like the size, less than the top part of my pinky. Like my pinky nail maybe. And pull that in half. I'm going to roll that in my hands, not too much though this time because we do need to shape it on the bunny. Now the eye goes from where the cheek meets the nose up towards the ear. So I like to poke it in where the nose is and then right there. So right where the nose meets the chin and then up a little bit. Same thing with the other side. Right where it meets the nose, then meets the cheek, and then up a little bit. And now we need just mere fibers of white, teeny itty bitty little bit. Pull that in half, roll those, and I'm going to put that little tiny speck in the top right corner of one eye, and if it falls in, just take another little piece and try it again. Sometimes it gets soaked up if it's too small and if the rest of it underneath is too not felted enough. And then I'll just need a little piece more. And I'm going to put that in the same spot in the other eye. So top right of the other eye. Using my needle to get exactly where I want it. And then you are done. So if you have done the bunny, you're all set. Stick around to watch the flowers if you want. Otherwise, keep working on your bunny. Go back to any parts that you need to review. And then take a picture and send it to me on Instagram or Facebook at Needle Felted Fuzzies. So on Facebook, it's facebook.com/Needle Felted Fuzzies. And on Instagram, it's just at Needle Felted Fuzzies, all one word, F-U-Z-Z-I-E-S is fuzzies. Okay, flower people. I'm going to quickly make 2 more flower petals. So again, we're doing the butterfly, folding one over, making the D, folding the fuzz over, stab, 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 flip over, teardrop shape. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and the last one. Sometimes I make 3 flowers on my eggs, so if you've done, 15 or 20 of these petals, that's okay. I will show you how to place them onto the egg. Okay, so now you have all of your petals lined up, probably off to the side, or maybe on the top of your mat like mine. We're going to pick up our egg and we're going to take a quick look and see where we want to place the flowers. And this finished one, you can see I placed one here and the second one right up next to it. So it's on the top of the egg. Some people I've seen do on the top and on the very of the egg. And some people do 3, some people do one on one side, one on the other. Wherever you want to put these is fine. I'm going to do the same thing that I did. That way if you wanted to make them next to each other, you can go ahead and do that. So I'm going to start with one petal, and this one is the easiest because you could just put it wherever you want. So I'm looking at the top of my egg here. I'm going to go down about almost halfway, and I'm going to stab just the small end of the petal right into the egg. I'm going to stab it in pretty good, so now it's flappy. I'm going to take the second petal, and I'm going to face it the opposite way. and stab it right on top of the first one. I'm going to take another petal and place that here. And you don't want to place it like up, down, left, right. Excuse me, sneeze. But you do want to make it so that they kind of overlap. The more they overlap, the more realistic it's going to look. So the fourth one is over here. And then I can kind of choose where I want this fifth one. I think I'm going to put it right on top of this one. All right. So now, make a couple more petals. These are going to be a little bit smaller. Flip it over, get those fuzzies all tucked in. Nice and tucked in. And now I can show you just these two here. You're going to place these right up against the first flower. So what I like to do is fold over the flower and then put this flower, the second one, I'm going to pin it in about here, but the petal's going to go right up against the other one. So stab, stab, stab right here. So there's a tiny little bit of space, but they're really touching. Okay, and then the second one, I'm going to go opposite way. And then maybe we'll just pretend for now that the rest of this is filled in. So now we have two flowers, but you can see there's a little bit more work that we have to do. So we're going to take our black, and I'm going to pull off a little bit, roll it in my fingers. If you were watching the bunnies, this is kind of what we did for the mouth. Just a nice line. And then I'm going to make almost like an X. So I'm going to put the first piece from one petal to the other, stab it in the middle, and then up one petal, up the other petal. And don't worry about it going into the egg. It won't go all the way through unless you have a lot of black on there. Then you know you have too much. So taking the second piece, I'm going to go the opposite way. In the center, and then up a little bit of that petal, a little bit of this petal. And then I need a little bit more for this fifth petal. And that's just going to go right in here. Okay, so you're going to repeat that step for the second flower. And then to finish it off, I just take a little piece of my yellow, roll that into a ball, put it right in the center, and stab it in. And then it looks like we have 5 individual pieces. Okay. And you're going to do the same thing for the second and or third flower. Okay. So like this one will go right across here. Start stabbing in the center. Pull it up, pull that up. And then I'll put the yellow right in the center. Now for the stem, I'm going to take a little bit of the green, do the same thing, roll it in my hands. I'm going to lift up the bottom, so down towards the big end of the egg, and I'm going to stab the green right into the base of that flower, and then I'm going to draw that line right down towards the bottom. And there you go. If you'd like to put little petals on your flower, you can just take little bits of green, gently roll it in your fingers, decide where you want to put it. So roll it into a ball, decide where you want to place it, and then stab it into the stem and draw where you want it to go. Okay, so there you go. And again, I'm going to see how fast I can make this while I'm finishing up here. If you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you have, please let me know. Usually I do in-person classes, so now that I'm doing a lot of virtual ones, it's a much different dynamic. I don't get to see people's faces and answer people's questions in live time. So if you have any questions, or if you have any suggestions, if you have any comments, please let me know that you have taken this course and that you had enjoyed it, or if you didn't, let me know and I'll be sure to improve for my next classes. Okay, so again, you can go to needlefeltedfuzzies.com. All of my information is there. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/needlefeltedfuzzies. It's NEEDLES, needle, felted, FELTED, fuzzies, FUZZIES. And so that's needlefeltedfuzzies.com, facebook.com/needlefeltedfuzzies, Instagram at needlefeltedfuzzies, or you can email me, needlefeltedfuzzies@gmail.com. Okay, so for this one, I'm just going to leave it at 4 petals. Take a little bit of black. Put it this way. And I'm also on Etsy. I do sell finished pieces. I sell some kits. I sell my popular fox tatoes, which was based off of a meme which said, "I'm a tiny fox tato and I believe in you. You can do the thing." So if you know somebody who's going through a rough part in their life, which I'm filming this during Corona, so you know we all could use a little bit of encouragement. The fox tatoes are available in a variety of colors, and they're on Etsy.com. And then if you just go into the search bar and search for Needle Felted Fuzzies, all one word, it'll come up there. Or again, you can go onto my website, needlefeltedfuzzies.com. So thank you again so much for taking this class. Here is my finished flowers, and here are my finished bunnies. Please take a picture and send it to me. Tag me at Needle Felted Fuzzies on Instagram, Facebook, wherever you are. And then if you use the hashtag Needle Felted Fuzzies, I'll be able to find you that way too. Thanks again. If you have any questions, let me know. Enjoy your Easter. Bye.